Let's kind of bridge into the next chapter now. And this is a powerful, very powerful chapter. And it's releasing authority as a stepping stone to freedom. Now, of course, we already covered one of the biggest authorities in your life, which is your self-interest, right? That'll make a lot of things, that'll lead you to making a lot of things really big. But I want you to all be aware of this, because I have no intention, nor do I have any interest in being an authority in any of your lives. That is never my purpose. That is never my calling. That is not what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you connect to the authority of all things. And again, if I've done that right, at some point I'll disappear. One of the biggest things that people make authorities in their life, okay, is their ignorance. They make what they don't understand a negative authority. Well, I don't understand that. Oh, I don't know the answer to that. I wouldn't know how to handle that. They make it a negative authority, all right? Versus saying, yeah, I don't know anything about that, but wow, let's check it out. Or, God, I don't have any idea what the answer is, but I'm really interested in knowing. We look at ignorance as something that we need to kind of live our life around, you know. And we need to hug it, we need to hold it, and we need to bathe in it. Because we're always going to be ignorant of something, and there's always going to be ignorance around us. So it's like there's no reason to keep showering to get that off of you. You just got to learn to live with that dirt of ignorance on your body and see it as something beautiful and just accept it for what it is. It is an unknowing. People's reaction to the unknowing, okay, is what causes ignorant acts to take place. Because someone is ignorant in how to deal with their fear, they act out and hurt somebody else. Because someone is ignorant of how to deal with the loss of a father, they become violent and act out in their life. Because they don't know how to deal with not knowing how to do something, and because they develop a lot of highly charged emotions around not knowing how to deal with something, their behavior becomes many times inappropriate and hurtful towards others. It's probably a new way to look at it for a lot of you. Just be with that. Okay, but it's just an unknowing. So how are you going to deal with what you don't know? All right? Because that's what a lot of life is. How are you going to deal with what you don't know? My best advice is relax. Just relax. Because when you become more intuitive, it's all the time. Since I've been living intuitively and the intuitive knowing has become the authority in my life, since God, okay, has truly become the authority in my life, right, I have no idea what's going on. But it's really, really cool. And I'm not so interested in understanding it as I am in observing it and noticing how perfect it all happens. And I'm more willing to observe and praise God for that divinity and perfection. Why? Because now I don't have a self-interest. I'm not trying to claim any part of it as, I did that. I didn't do that. So I don't hold that place of authority in my own life. I just don't believe I'm that on top of things anymore. You know what I mean? Because I am not. I'm in it. It'd be like that red blood cell going, yeah, I got it all figured out here. I made these vessels. I made all that. I got it all figured out. Yeah, we're just going to make a right here at the lungs, a left at the liver. We'll be there now. I laid these roads. I know this. No, it doesn't. It's a red blood cell. It came out of the bone marrow. It's floating around. Well, that's what we are. We came out of nothing. We came out of this spiritual ether. We came into form. We came through some vaginal canal in the human reality, and all of a sudden, we're crapping our pants and we need someone to feed us. I mean, come on. And in the blink of an eye, it's over. We have a very inflated sense of what we really know. So what people do is, because they can't accept that, okay, because that's not acceptable in society, because in society you need to be smart. There's nothing wrong with intelligence unless you believe that you're intelligent enough. Intelligence is wonderful, but never believe you're intelligent enough. I prefer intuition over intelligence. I prefer to know things without having had to learn them. And I'm going to get into this as we go further on. How to live experientially. So that's what that. But people who aren't comfortable with that, all right, like we all were at one point, they get fear-based. They get fearful. They get nervous, and they look for someone to give them an authority. Somebody give me an authority, would you? Somebody put something in my life that tells me everything that's going on so that I can stop realizing I don't know what the hell's going on. Would you please give me somebody that tells me what's going on so I don't have to think about the fact that I don't know what's going on? That's what makes human authorities, doesn't it? I am a liberator. I'm here to liberate you all from that. I'm here to help you become a vibrational piece of God that says, you know what, I don't know what's going on, but I don't always need someone to tell me what's going on, first of all. Second of all, I trust that God will tell me what's going on when I need to. And if God doesn't tell me directly, intuitively, God will put somebody in my life that'll give me a message that'll ring pure and true and won't come from a place of fear and anger. I trust that authority exists. I trust that that'll come to me. I trust that. I don't need to fearfully and in a space of insecurity offer my life up to some religious figure or political figure or legal figure. Be a slave that's being told I have free will. Right. It's one type of authority. Another type of authority is possession. Now, what can possess us, all right? People think of possession, they think of spiritual possession. We can be possessed by other spirits. And you know what? I don't deny that. I work with it every day. Every day. I have to move spirits out of people. But I find the only people that are open to be inhabited by other spirits are people that are possessive. They hold on to possessions. They hold on to things. They don't want to let things go. And so they're a perfect place for energies to live that park it right there. These people are easily manipulated. These energies are very easily manipulated. They're controlled by possessions. They're weak. They're weak. They're weak in the field of consciousness. They don't do what's right. They do what they need to do to preserve their possessions. Possessions are just not things, they're beliefs. Remember, stagnancy breeds disease. Breeds disease. When you're open and willing to change and let go, you're not really a good place for a parasite to live. Because you're going to get flushed out, you're going to get kicked out, you're going to get dissolved, you're going to get removed. And whether that's emotional or physical or spiritual, it's all the same thing. When you're hung up on possessions, you're hung up. When anything becomes more important to you than your connection with God and following the truth within you, you are bound to be possessed by something. And that doesn't mean you throw your possessions away. It means you look at what is really necessary. There's nothing wrong with having things as a result of living a free life, of living a good life, a balanced life. You will get things for living that way. But the biggest thing about them is the moment you get them, you got to be ready to what? Let them go. If life asks you to. If it doesn't, enjoy it. But when it does, you got to let it go. If you don't let it go, it begins to what? Possess you. And what possesses you then becomes an authority in your life on how to make decisions. If I don't want to let go of this book, okay, and I need to let go of this book in order to transcend, guess what? What's the authority in my life? Transcension or the book? The book. It's kind of funny because I said I was willing to let go of the book when we started. Okay? So you have to be ready to let go of. Okay? Possessions can also be people. Relationships can possess you. If I'm not willing to let a relationship between me and Nancy change, and I need to let that happen for myself to transcend, to become more conscious, if I'm not willing to let that go, that relationship becomes my authority. That's dictating what I'm willing to do. Do you see that? Does everybody see that? That which I am holding on to will ultimately dictate what I am willing to do. You must not hold on to anything. You must let everything be in your life and not be in your life when necessary. Because if you don't, you're holding on, you're going to end up being possessed. We can also be possessed by jobs, right? Okay? But the cool thing is that most people are possessed by jobs because of identities, okay, that they have at that job. So they become a different person when they're at their job. Maybe they don't feel as good when they're not at their job, because when they're at their job, they're in charge, they're in control. So they are possessed by that identity. They turn into somebody different when they go to work. That means you're possessed. You're becoming something different. You should be who you are all the time. If you can't be who you are, then you're at the wrong job. You should at least fundamentally be able to be who you are. And trust me, you can be. You might not believe you can, but you can. So the problem isn't the job at first. The problem is you're not believing you can be. Why? Because you have false authorities. You have things in your head that are telling you, I can't act that way. I can't be that way. I'll get fired. They won't like me. Have you ever really tried it? Have you ever let life decide? If you haven't, then where's the authority at? It's false. It's fake. Do you understand the statement? It's biblical, but it's truthful. You should have no other gods before me. Do you get that now? That's it. If you trust me, you trust me. I made you who you are. You be the best you can be, being loving, peaceful. The way you are, you do the best you can, and you let it go the way it goes. And you keep working on it, and you keep trying to be the best you can be, but you trust who you are. And you trust that the experiences you're going to have are perfect for you to become what I need you to become. The red blood cell I need you to become. Or the white blood cell, or the whatever. And if you're not, you are going to have a really interesting time dealing with all the authorities in your life. Because I can tell you, if you got a lot of voices in your head, you got a lot of authorities in your life. And you're always arguing with them. And it leads, quite frankly, it leads to mental illness. It makes you crazy. Because we're not made to follow a bunch of different authorities. We're made to follow one, which is the same one, everybody. The same creator created it all. And intuition helps you hook up with that. And follow it. And the funny part is, as you follow it, you look crazy. And that's the real, that's kind of the bite in the shorts. Is that you look completely crazy because everyone's like, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm just following this voice of God within me. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And you automatically think like you're a holy roller or something. You're like, no, it's really not about that. I'm just really trying to look for what God's will is for my life and really follow it. And so I'm not drinking as much alcohol, or I'm not eating as much sugar, or I'm letting go of some relationships that are not healthy. And well, yeah, whatever, okay, And you're going to face that. Okay? Because you're facing your old possessions. You're facing who you used to be. And God's saying, are you ready to let that die? Are you ready to let that authority go in your life? Are you ready to let their opinion of you not matter? If you are, then you've passed that test. And you are then free of that authority in your life. The authority that makes you feel uncomfortable being different. You see the guise of authority that's surrounding your lives in so many ways? I have so much compassion for you all. I don't live with any of it anymore, and it's great. I honestly don't care what anybody thinks of me. I know I am living in a space of truth. I know I am doing the best I can to execute God's will in my life. And you know what? I have got peace to the core of this earth. I am unshaken. And if I die, I die. And if I lose everything, I lose everything. I don't care. I'm not giving up my peace. I am not going to be afraid anymore. If you're going to get one benefit from following the practice, listen to me. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You can live without fear because you know you're doing the best you can. And at that point, you throw yourself on the mercy of God and say, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Whatever you're going to take, you're going to take. Whatever you're going to give me, you're going to give me. But damn it, I'm not going to be fearful of you anymore. And I'm going to believe you are in control of all this. And on some level, I got to just get all the way in that car. And until you do, you will be tortured in one way or another with fear and insecurity because you are making false gods in your life of things that have no business being it, and of people that have and will have no business being it. Why do you think there's been such a collapse and presence of incompetence of authority figures across the world? Do you think God is waking us all up? I mean, and I don't. Again, no judgment, observation, pretty objective. In every facet of humanity, over the last few years, there has been a collapse in the ultimate authority of it. Catholicism, religion, Wall Street, corporate life, politics. You know, God is shaking human ego to the core and saying, do you see what you've been following? Do you see the best of your leaders? And again, there are many people in the majority of the world that are reconciling and arguing and being political about all that because they're not ready to be in the space that you're entering into, the space of no return that says, you know what? What can I be in the world? I'm going to be what I can be. I'm going to be what God calls me to be. I'm going to follow that. I'm going to let God be my leader. I'm going to let God dictate my life. I'm going to give in. I'm going to accept I don't know what's going on, and I'm going to enter into my life on a daily basis with a heart open to love and a mind willing to change, and I'm going to say, okay. Because I got news for you all. You're all better leaders than all of them. I would trust your level of consciousness or your level of consciousness or your level of consciousness more than any of them. Because I would know to some degree you wouldn't be dictating it based on who? Yourself. How am I going to look in history? What kind of president am I going to look like? What's my bonus going to be? How can I keep people from leaving the church? Those are all self-interest. Right. Yeah. What's my legacy? That's why I told you all, if I'm doing my job right as a teacher, I should dissolve into anonymity. I should just dissolve into anonymity. It should be at some point like I was never here. The proof of my existence will only be the enlightenment I leave behind. That's the only thing worth anything. Authority in your life. When you can let go of it, you will truly, truly feel comfortable not having free will. You will truly feel comfortable. Because when you are guided by God's will, trust me, you are going to come up against authorities within you, first and foremost. False authorities within you, left and right. And you got to just let God's will go. Now you're not believing that anymore. No, you're not doing that anymore. And those authorities within you some of them are going to get angry. Some of them are going to put up a hell of a fight. And you just got to go, no, that's all right. I've listened to you for long enough. I'm going to try this way. And then you'll do it, and it'll happen. And you're like, wow. And you just, God bless you for having that moment. Because once you've had it, you're changed. It's over. It's done. It's like, it's just done. You can't admit that it didn't exist. But you're out on the limb saying it, But something inside of you made you say it, Jan. Something inside of you made you speak it. Not for anybody else, but for your transcendence.
Just was what was reality.
That's right. A reality that doesn't exist in many other people's realities right now. But it does exist. I want to show you a world beyond your comprehension. I want to open you up to seeing a world that exists, that really is what brings this world into being. I want to show you the real present time consciousness. That's what the practice is here to show you. But you have to let go of your old authorities you've had over life and the old authorities you've put over life. And when you do, then you'll see the truth. Not my truth, just the truth. And it'll be yours, and it'll be what you're meant to see and how you're meant to see it.